Hey there, I'm Bijou Ickley. I'm the CEO of the Florida Assisted Living Association, the state's oldest and largest association dedicated to the assisted living industry. My background is in post acute care, palliative care, and geriatric primary care. I was born in Chicago, raised in Florida. I am the mother of three beautiful, nearly grown children, and I am essentially dedicating my life to caring for our seniors.
Hi, my name is Tammy Erickson, and I am a born and raised Tampa, Florida girl. I am also a certified dementia practitioner and a core certified executive director. I am the proud mother of 5 and grandmother of 4. Also a proud member of several senior organizations such as your Florida Healthcare Association, Florida Senior Living Association, Florida Healthcare Association, the Aging Life Care Association, in addition to the Florida Assisted Living Association. I serve on several conference committees and hold several different board positions on each of those. And I am also proud to be part of the Mortellero Law elder law firm.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Eddings. I'm a registered nurse, BSN, NPD, BC. I am a nurse development manager, born in Washington, D.C., raised in Memphis, Tennessee, and I've been a Floridian since 2013. Proud mother of 4 children, and I have a strong desire to uplift and support. You are welcome to follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, as well as YouTube. And I am super proud to announce that I'll be the host of the new podcast called The Call Light Collective, coming soon, fall 2025. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the first annual CMC Media and Advocacy Women Panel. I'm your host, Jennifer Eddings, and I'm joined today by the beautiful Bijou Ickley, as well as the beautiful Tammy Erickson. Now, ladies, tell me, why did you decide to join the panel today called Why Women Should Be President?
Because Norman Harris called me yesterday at 2:30 and asked me would I sit on the panel, and then sent me the questions at 2:30 a.m. So as I woke up and borrowed my husband's glasses to review the questions, and then drove from Valrico to Zephyr Hills at 9:45 on a Sunday morning. I am here to support anything that Norman Harris is involved in.
That was probably the best side I have ever seen, ever. All right, Bijou, how about you?
Well, first of all, the name. I mean, come on. I think we could all do with a woman president at some point. I'd say that's number
Amen.
one. I'd say number 2, I met Norman a little over a year ago. And, you can't say no to Norman. He's just such an amazing guy, and he's persistent, and he's always in a good mood. And, Norman asked, and here I am.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Exactly. Here we are. I am just so thankful to be sitting here amongst both of you today. You are both just such powerful, beautiful, confident women. And I think that me as a mother of a young girl, I would absolutely love for her to be able to share space and time with you. And while that's not possible for everyone to get that time, this allows so many young women to be inspired. So I just wanted to thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. So welcome. So I'm going to start with a question, and we're just going to roll with it, girls. All right. So the first question is, do you think society still subconsciously holds women leaders to a higher standard than men? And if so, how do you navigate that? Bijou, we'll go with you first.
I can tell you when I first started my career, I actually started in financial sales. And that was a very male-dominated industry to work
Incredibly.
in. And I can remember, studying the guidelines and, learning, front and back, that my trade. And when I would talk to customers and clients, I would get quizzed backwards and forwards and left and right. And I had to get really, really good because I was questioned. And I would sit next to my male coworker who would literally talk about the weather and the golf game and the football game and everything else, and absolutely zero questions and no expectations. And so for me as a woman, I think that what I learned is that I need to be an expert in whatever it is that I'm doing.
That is actually such great insight. As you started talking in the beginning, I was like, I wonder if her male counterparts got the same questioning, and you answered it already beautifully. All right, so over to you, Tammy. How about you? Do you want me to, the question, do you want me to repeat it, or are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good.
I think that mine's a little bit different. I mean, I was raised by a single mom who always had to get up and perform and do what she did every day to take care of me. And I think that, and also myself as a single mom, I've always just equipped myself and educated myself to do more, to give more, to support more for my household. So yes, there's always been that male drive that we have to be better than. But as Bijou said, it was easy for them to show up and talk about the game. We had to actually have that intellect that showed that we were on our game and that we knew what we were doing for them to trust us, which I think is funny now that majority of the male-owned companies are ran by women.
They sure are. And I love what you said. The males can show up and talk about the game. Women have to show up and be on our game. I think there's a lot of profound wisdom in that statement. It's pretty beautiful. Great insight from both of you. And I love how both of you live in different sectors of the healthcare industry. And we all have different backgrounds and different cultures and different upbringings. And we're all from different traumas. But the insight is still like pretty close, which I think is very telling for women in the industry we're in. So I appreciate that. So let me ask this next question rather. What strategies have you found most effective for building influence and credibility in a male-dominated industry?
So I'm going to say more than anything, it's lead by example and teach what you preach. You know, it's easy to show up and throw up, but it's another thing to actually lead by example, to show people how things are expected or how you want things done, how you expect your dynasty to grow. It's based on showing that you're willing to put in the work too, not just to say, hey, I expect you to go out and do this. I want to show you how we do this and how it works.
I love that. How about you, Bijou?
So I would say that, it really takes doing the homework, having the passion for whatever it is that you're doing, respecting yourself, believing in yourself, and, just performing to the highest capability that you have.
In the little space or the little time rather that we've had together, I loved when you said believing yourself, because there's not a single doubt in my mind that either of you believe in yourself. And I don't know what your journey's been, but what I do love is that you've gotten to a space where you're like, I'm amazing, and I have no problem saying that. And that's really beautiful. And again, going back to being a mother of a daughter, I pray that one day she can feel the same, because I don't know that it's that way for girls growing up right now, that they automatically have that belief. I feel like they have to not earn it, but it takes a lot of work to start believing in that. So anyway, I appreciate that.
And I would say too, I think it's important that we're also humble about it, and we're open to learning and growing.
Yeah.
Because, I think that's what keeps you moving forward. It's being open to learning and growing and, continuing that on your journey. So
well, I think as women, we have to.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
owe it to ourselves. We owe it, as you said, to our children, that we are willing to always learn and to accept the fact that there's something you don't know that you can learn. And that's what keeps, and I've known Bijou forever. I think that's knowing us and knowing that we've got to stay that one step ahead and add more tools to our toolbox, if you will.
Well, I love that. And I think that one thing is the humility you both have. It gives you an approachability. There are other women that will feel comfortable coming to you and saying, hey, how did you get where you're at? Like, I admire you for who you are and where you're at. Do you mind? Like, I'm a train wreck. It's like, so can you just tell me like how not to be one, or at least how to pretend that I'm not, and build further in life. So I just appreciate the success you both have had, but the humility and the humbleness that you still keep, because if it weren't for that, it would be almost closing you off to the generations that are coming in behind us that are here to continue the work that you guys have already both been doing. So I appreciate that very, very much. All right, on to the next question. And I like this one so much, and I'm actually super excited to hear your answers. All right. So when you think about the legacy that you want to leave, I know. What is the personal ritual or habit you practice that you hope will become a blueprint for the next generation of women in your family or even in your community? And we're starting with you, sister. Sorry.
So I actually called my daughters to discuss this question. What did I give to you? What gift do you feel like I instilled in you? And my 19-year-old responded, although I think you call it voluntold, it was the gift of service that you've always taught us to give back. So I think if you hear in my journey just of who I am, I've always wanted to serve. I always want to educate. That is something that I hold near and dear. Even my grown boys, they have been voluntold their whole lives. So it's the gift of service. It's the gift of giving back. It's the gift of sharing with others. And even into that, I will lead into talking about gifts of the younger generation coming into our industry. I love to cradle a baby, if you will, somebody fresh out of college or fresh into the industry. I want to give them my toolbox. I want them to know how I started this journey, even with FALA, the Florida Assisted Living Association. I was a member of that 20 years ago. And teaching them how to build and how not to burn bridges and how to respect the people that have been in the industry. And then I employ them to go out or encourage them to go out and meet with other people that they respect and go get their toolbox and pick the best tools that work for them. So I think it's sharing, if I've not kind of convoluted the answer.
Not even close.
Service, but also education and giving people the tools to succeed in whatever it is that they want to do.
I'm going to go a little off script because my mind wants to know what sparked that match for you to want to do that for the people coming in behind you, or even wanting to, what made that be what you wanted to leave to your babies?
Well, for my girls, it's empowerment. Being a single mom, as much as I absolutely love my husband, we're women and we're moms. And we want them to be able to succeed when there's not somebody to fall back on. I've been very blessed. I have a strong mother who told me I could never fail. There was nothing I could do in her eyes that would ever be wrong. Nothing. And I'm blessed to have that. I needed to instill that in my girls. People who know me personally know that I've had a journey. I've had an interesting journey, and that which doesn't kill us only makes us stronger. So how do you equip? How do you armor yourself, if you will, to protect yourself from all the things that society will bring to you? So how do I help those that are growing up be stronger?
I love that. So, and I think I talk a lot about society and social media in particular, and how we are conditioned to judge our own blooper reels by somebody else's highlight reels, right? So I'm just curious, what flames did you walk through? Because I feel like there's a story that I feel like most people could look at you and very easily assume that life has been so kind and so easy. And I just think that there are people that need to hear, when they look at you, they need to know what you've crawled through.
There's been a couple. There's been things. But to know I've been a single mom since I was 23 with 3 little boys.
That's hard.
Trying to journey. I was navigating nursing school on Medicaid and food stamps and a Pell Grant. I had a journey. It got blackballed. Unfortunately, my nursing career was blackballed, and I left nursing school, then was sitting as a single mom with 3 little boys. What do you do?
What do you do?
You dust yourself off and you get up, because you got kids to support. You can't lay and waller in self-pity. That gets you nowhere.
Yeah.
So, there's that. And I am happily, wonderfully married to my high school sweetheart, who I love, my God, more than life itself. And we are thankfully 22 years this month, clean and sober. But
Congratulations.
During his rehab and treatment, I was delivering a stillborn at the hospital while he was going into rehab. Here I am, a single mom with 3 kids trying to, and what do you have to do? You can't lay down and wallow in self-pity. You gotta get up and move because you've got a house to support. You've got kids. There's not time to lay and think, woe is me, which is easy to do. But it's what you do next. It's how you move forward that makes you who you are. So I am 25 years happily married with 5 beautiful, blessed children, and blessed to have the career that I have. But it's because I didn't roll in a ditch and lay down and say, woe is me. Sorry, ladies, that the government will take care of me. No.
Yeah.
No, I can do this.
Yeah.
And also, once again, I had a strong mother who said, no, here we go. Let's go. Yeah. There's not time to lay down and think. It's get up and go and move.
And it sounds like you've paid that forward to your own babies.
I have, I think. I would love to think that all 5 of them respect who I am and see the fight and the journey that I did to provide and to be who I am for them.
Outside looking in, I can tell you just listening to you today, they see it and they feel it because of what you told me about. They were the ones that said, this is what you gave us. This is what you left for us. And just to pivot over to Bijou real quick, yeah. Hearing you say, like, we don't have time to wallow in self-pity.
No.
That echoes to some things I heard you saying earlier prior to cameras rolling about we're not here to complain. We don't have time for that. So do you mind, and I know that we took a little bit here, but do you mind just kind of pivoting off of that and with the same question, I can re-ask it if you want me to, but I think that you probably are ready to go.
Well, how do you follow that? That
I
was
know,
beautiful.
but it's okay because
and thank
your
you.
story is
thank
just
you
as
for
beautiful.
for sharing that, and I think that's beautiful. And I think you said something very interesting. You said people often will look at a person and think that they've had an easy journey and that that their life is just a cakewalk. Yeah. And I think one thing people don't know about me is that I'm actually, both of my parents are immigrants. Mm-hmm. And we grew up with very modest, surroundings. Yeah. And it was a journey, and we all had to work really hard, and we had to kind of fight through, the self-doubt and whatever, when you're of a certain ethnicity, sometimes people look at you a certain way. And so you always know you have to work harder. And I think for me, one of the most powerful things and a legacy that I would like my children to carry forward is knowing that if you work hard, you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. Yeah. I think that's certainly extremely, extremely important. It's that, Tammy, you said we don't lay down and wallow in self-pity. I think life never really turns out exactly the way you think it's going to.
Yeah.
And success really comes from what you do next, So it's human to stop and to say, oh no, this is awful. But you have to pick yourself back up and look around and say, okay, well, what can I do from here? And so for me, I think my family is a legacy. I think I try to be a very kind person. I try to help those that are around me. And it always touches me when someone reaches out that I haven't talked to in a very long time and says, I did this because of something you said. Or I remember, when 10 years ago you said X, Y, Z, and that really stuck with me and that inspired me. And half the time I don't even remember, that conversation. And I'm just like, it really touches me to think that I have the ability to make a positive influence on somebody else's life and somebody else's journey. And I think that's really what I'd like to do. I would like to be remembered in a way that is positive, that I did do good things, and that it all did mean something. So
you have my brain kind of firing on a few different cylinders right now, but isn't it beautiful, like unintentionally, just in your normal day, everyday conversation, the walk you live, whatever, inspired someone that years later, they're like, hey, you said this and it impacted me so greatly. And I think that's just another reminder to be authentically ourselves every day. Not everybody's going to like us. I'm sure you can probably list one or two or 12 that may have never been big fans of yours. But the impact you're making on the ones that see you for who you are is literally just, it's impossible to even describe. And then even hearing you, your journey is something I'm not familiar with. My parents were not immigrants. And that's not something I've ever really thought much about, to be very honest. And earlier I made a comment to you prior to filming that now I'm almost regretting, or at least want to acknowledge. I said, because you're beautiful. And I said, you remind me of a porcelain doll. And now I'm like, wait, was that insensitive? Because
Absolutely not.
okay, good. Because my intention was so good. But you sharing your journey and your story about that, it keeps me mindful
I'll take
of the
all
words
the
I
compliments,
share.
let's just say.
Okay, good.
I think that goes back to what we were talking about. Bijou says being an immigrant, people assume, and looking at me, people assume that my life was just handed to me.
Of course.
And it's not. You don't know what somebody's journey has been.
No one could have ever thought you were giving birth to it as stillborn while your husband was in rehab. That could have crippled and destroyed and ended someone.
And that which doesn't kill us can only make us stronger.
And that is what you've done with it.
Yeah.
And I hope you're so proud. Both of you, so proud.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Hello, I'm Norman Harris, owner and CEO of Comfort Measures Consulting. We are a healthcare resource platform that specializes in business development for independently, privately owned healthcare organizations. Let's partner together to support your business growth through strategic digital marketing and community engagement. You can DM us, call us, text me. I'm here for you. We're ready to serve you. Thank you.
Okay, both of you, I cannot thank you enough for the vulnerability you've shared here today. I'm not so sure any of us were expecting where we went, but I think it's a beautiful reminder of when you get honest, authentic, genuine women together, that in a space that's provided that safety, that you can really just kind of unleash and unshare, or not unshare, but unleash and unravel and unpack some of what makes us who we are, that maybe we don't always tell the world for all the other reasons. However, I think it's time to kick it up a notch a little bit. So I just have a question. It's burning on my mind. How'd y'all meet that bald head Norman? I'm just curious because I know how I met him and I'll share, but I didn't know how y'all met him. I need to know.
He knows, and I'll give him a hard time because I bust his chops about it all the time. He showed up for an event late.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird, but go ahead.
Right?
Continue.
Anyway, but he showed up, but it wasn't that he was late. It was the follow-up. It was the calling me, let's set up a time, let me get to know you. So it was at a networking event, probably a follow meeting, because he's so good at making his rounds. But yeah, we met through networking.
I love
and
that.
Then I think that somewhere along the lines, there just became this friendship, this relationship that he knew if he needed or if he wanted, that either one of us could pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I need XYZ.
I love it.
So
I love it. How about you, Bijou?
Well, it's interesting. So Norman actually reached out to me on LinkedIn, and it was shortly after I started as the CEO with Fala, and he said, "Hey, can I pick your brain?" And for me, I try to be open and I try to help people as much as I can. And if if somebody reaches out and says, I'm a Fala member, I'm a prospective member, can I pick your brain? I mean, that's like I said, part of the legacy I'd like to leave is to be a resource and to help people on their journeys. And so we scheduled a Zoom, and it was like a couple hours Zoom on a weekend, and he was throwing all his crazy new ideas at me, and I was giving him my opinion, and then he was like, "This is amazing," and I was like, "Well, I think you're amazing, and you're on an interesting journey," and so we kind of kept in touch. After that, I think first time I met him in person was at a Florida Healthcare Association conference. No, he's just got a lot of life, a lot of energy, and he calls me the bijou. So
the bijou. I love that so much. I feel like I need to now join this association you guys are. I'm not sure if I have the qualifications, but I'll bring snacks. That's what I can promise. I feel like that's all I need to really do.
I'll connect you to a meeting.
Amen, sister. Amen. So
go.
I met Norman again. I was gonna make like a weird like OnlyFans joke, but I'll digress.
Oh.
It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I was just playing. I was playing. I know, right? It was also LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I have never truly picked his brain as to how he found me, but he did. And I am a brand ambassador and a devout team member to a particular organization here locally. And I have just committed my life to living out loud and sharing the hard things about my life. Because again, people can look at me and assume a lot of things. And when I say, no, I've been divorced more than I want to tell you as many times. I've had multiple children. I used to weigh 350 pounds. I struggle with self-identity, imposter syndrome, all the things. And when I say that that's me, then someone else feels safe to say, well, me too. And then we can connect and we can network and we can talk about it. So somehow he found me and he was messaging. He was like, hey, you look a little crazy and a little fun. I'm like, you got it right. He was like, what do you think about coming on a podcast with me? So I was honored to be able to be on a podcast of his. And then somehow here I am with cute shoes and with the most two beautiful women that I can honestly say I've ever met.
Aww.
And I am just so incredibly thankful for this opportunity, for this space, for your journeys, for your wisdom, for your vulnerability.
At Comfort Measures Consulting, we're here to help you navigate the complexity of healthcare. If you're caring for a loved one as a caregiver, you don't have resources, you don't know what questions to ask, you need to have options, right? Give Comfort Measures a call. Give us a chance. First consultation is free. Speak with me, Comfort Measures Consultant, 850-879-2182. You can also visit our website at www.comfortmeasuresconsulting.com. Talk to you soon.
And this is probably gonna be the hardest question you have to answer. Maybe. I don't know. Are you proud of yourself?
Shall I start?
Yeah. Let's go.
I think that's an interesting question. And I think that it's something that I've had to work on over the years. I would say that I grew up with parents that, expected a lot from us.
Mm.
And it wasn't acceptable to be prideful.
Mm.
And it was always kind of the mindset of how can you do more? How can you be better? How can you, that's how I was raised. And there are positives in that, right? Like there are positives in that because it pushes you. Yeah. It pushes you to be strong and it pushes you to not just rest on your laurels and say, okay, everything is, good and I got it made. It's like you're always looking for what next. But for me, it also is something that, it can be a negative when you don't stop and appreciate the good things, right? And you don't appreciate what your accomplishments are. And when I was younger, I definitely struggled with that. I would accomplish something huge. And then it was almost like this huge letdown because all that adrenaline is gone,
Yeah.
right?
What can you do better?
And I go, okay, I did that and it's over. And now what do I do? And so then it would have to be finding a new goal and finding a new challenge
What's
and
the
that
next
kind of
thing?
thing.
Yeah,
And so now
yeah.
I consciously try to stop and go, you did good, kid.
Yeah.
Good job,
Yeah.
And it's something that, I'm trying to instill in my kids as well, because I have that, that mindset and the mentality from my upbringing and just from the way that, that I was raised, that, the next thing I don't stop often enough to say that was great.
Yeah.
Good job. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so I would say, yes, I am proud of myself.
And I'm proud of you for saying that.
Thank you. But it's something that I do have to consciously, kind of step back into and remind myself that, it's okay to give yourself props and it's actually a good thing. You should give yourself props.
Sure. Absolutely.
But that explains the success of you and your siblings. Because, all of you guys are just incredibly successful.
Well, I don't know
which
about your
is
siblings,
insane.
but next
But no,
podcast,
I
next
mean, I'm just
podcast.
saying that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, where I, on the other hand, was raised by a mom, and I mean, until I was 13, I was an only child, and there was nothing I couldn't do in the world that I wanted to do. I mean, because my mom was going to support me, and you know, so there's that. Am I proud of myself? I am extremely proud of myself, and it's interesting because something so stupid and simple. Last weekend, I drove out to UCF and met my daughter at her apartment, and I spent the day with her shopping. And I was leaving her. She was her roommates weren't there, so it was just my daughter and myself. And she's 19, and I started crying coming down the stairs, and I thought, what am I crying for? I have raised 5 beautiful children that are all, in their own way, highly successful. I have a daughter that's 19 that's in an apartment with a brand new car, and I can take care of it, and I can provide that for her. Why am I crying? Because I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I think it was the first time I really stopped to think, I gave that to her. That I was able. Because had I been able to do that at 23, not a chance.
No.
You know, and it's funny now because my boys are in their 30s, and they're like, well, we didn't have that. Well, you know, different life, different time.
Sorry about your luck.
But I am blessed, and I am, so I stand now, and I, like I said, I've mentioned, I'm married to my high school sweetheart, the love of my life. I have 5 beautiful children, and I am living in the house of my dreams, and I am blessed to have the job for a man that I am so blessed to know and to work with. So everything that I've done up to this point has led me to this time in my life. But am I proud? Yeah, I'm proud of my career. I'm proud of my marriage. I'm proud of my children. I'm proud of many years later. I mean, I'm almost, yeah, I've hit some big
24.
numbers. And I'm proud that after that many years, I'm still standing.
Amen.
And I am in a place that if anybody looked at me through a magnifying glass or whatever, I can say I've done right.
Yeah.
So am I proud? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Well, I need you both to know that I am proud of you.
Aw.
And I am so proud of you. And you make me proud, both of you, to be a woman. And I mean that from the absolute bottom of my heart. So, before I start crying like an absolute idiot, I think our time is up. I am so thankful for both of you again, if I haven't said it enough, for sharing your journey, your experience, your upbringing, your challenges, your cultural sensitivities, and the things that made your life different. Because that's what we need. We need women to start speaking up and to start speaking about their challenges and their journeys, because my daughter needs you and my daughter needs you. And I'm so thankful for both of you. We have gotten very deep here today, ladies. And again, I'm so thankful. However, I would love to close this off with a different question. I would love to know what you think is the one thing that you could do, say, be, or change that would make a positive impact on society. We'll start with you, Bijou.
Start with me.
She looks like she's thinking. Yeah.
I think that the world would be a much better place with more empathy. And I think that
Made me cry again.
don't cry. Stop it. Because then if you cry, then I'll
I know.
cry.
It's a
I'll
whole
cry.
thing. It's a whole thing. All right, I'll hold it together. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I really try to put myself in the other person's shoes. And I also try to understand the perspective that someone else is coming from. And, you know, I think empathy is something that is extremely, extremely important, and it helps us stop crying. Don't do it.
Don't look at me.
But it definitely is one of the most important things. You know, you can get upset with someone for behaving a certain way. You can get angry, and you can lash out. But if you stop a lot of times and try to really see things from the other person's perspective or understand the journey that they've been through, it helps you understand who they are today or why they're behaving the way that they are behaving, and allows you to kind of, just accept that they are who they are.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of takes away that sting and that negativity. And the world and society and the business world would be a much better place, I think, with more empathy, with more putting yourself in other people's shoes.
So. It humanizes all
Absolutely.
of it. Yeah.
Which all goes back to treat others as you would like to be treated. I think that's the root to everything. I mean, if you want to be treated kindly, then treat people with kindness, and it will be reciprocated. I think that's, a world changer.
I agree. So what, besides empathy, because she already took the answer, sorry sister, you're not gonna be able to use it.
Empathy
What
and
is
treating people the way that
no
you
ma'am,
want to be treated
there
is
are rules
very
here.
different.
I'm the moderator.
Okay.
What would you say would be something that could help make society just a little bit of a better place to live in?
Okay.
Besides
So
what
guess
you
the words
said.
I'm going to get ratchet. That
Oh my gosh.
is
Alcohol?
We're going to go deep. Always alcohol.
I mean, this is grape juice. So.
But if we want to go deep, I think one thing that would change the world is to allow our social system to be a short-term support system, not a forever crutch. Don't give them a wheelchair or scooter. Give them a crutch to get them stronger and make them become stronger in themselves instead of supporting them in their weaknesses forever. And I know that's deep, but
No, that's real.
I think that these systems that we've put in place were put in place for a short time to help you get your education, to help you medically get stronger. It's not to be forever on that journey, or to think that that's your life's work is to ride that. And I firmly, being somebody who's been there and done that, because and I used it for what it was created to do. I used it to, as I said, get up and dust myself off and educate myself, to support my children, not to expect society to do it for me.
Amen.
So
I was another Medicaid, Pell Grant, food stamp recipient, and had the government allowed me to continue doing it, it would have allowed me to accept that as my life.
Right?
And instead, the purpose is to give you foundation to build a better you. And I in the empathy part, I'm not going to look at you. I'm not going to cry again. Between the two of those, I think we could absolutely create a stronger world. So anyway, I am, again, so thankful for both of you to be here, and thankful you sharing all of your stories, your insight. This is not an easy place to be, exposing yourself like this, but it is what it is. And I promise you, my daughter will be tuning in for sure. So that's all we have for you today. I appreciate you so much for joining in and for being a part of the first annual, but not to be the last annual, CMC Media and Advocacy Women Panel. I'm Jennifer Eddings. Thank you so much.